and welcome. I'm Hayley Coxon and this is Rebel Without a Limit. Thank you for joining me this evening. This is your Mindset podcast, sharing stories and techniques to support you in living with a limitless mind. I'm so happy to finally get this off the ground. I'm really excited to share some of the conversations and the stories that I'm going to give you access to. And the series is going to be a combination of live episodes, so thanks for joining us this evening, and pre-recorded as well. Now, the idea behind the live is to give you access to your favorite athletes, personalities, coaches, practitioners, so you can get involved in the conversation. So please do say hello, introduce yourself, tell us where you're joining us from, and also fire away with your questions. Tonight's guest is a pretty incredible mindset and talent, so you will have access to him. So please do share your questions. And thank you to those, some of you have been sharing this on social media, so I'll do that with every episode. I'm giving you the opportunity to share your questions before the show as well. So keep an eye out on that. And thank you to those of you who have shared your questions. I will get as many of them into the show as I can. And if I don't get them in this episode, Chris will be returning. So we will have him back for a part 2. And we can introduce them into that show as well. So we'll do the best that we can. Thank you, though, everyone, for joining us. I'm really excited to get this ball rolling. It's Rebel Without a Limit, your Limitless Mindset podcast. And there's a few of you that have tuned in already and said hello. So good evening and welcome. I'm just going to share some of the comments. Jake Thompson, hello to you. Your comment, you have said, I've been watching rallying for the best part of 12 years. I went to watch Chris this year at the Northwest Stages. Fantastic. So did I. How incredible was he? It was epic. Yes, it was. And following that, I traveled to watch my first World Rally Championship event. Chris was away competing at the WRC last year in the junior category, and he's been the best rallying talent I've ever seen. He's inspired me to get more involved with his journey to the top and rallying altogether. Yes, Jake, I love that. Thank you for sharing. I feel where you're coming from. It is exciting to see this talent, and he's British, doing what he's doing and striving to achieve what he wants to achieve as well. So thank you for that comment, and I'm sure we're all excited, and I join you in that, to see where he takes us. John Ingram, good evening, hello, and thank you for joining us. Looking forward to your son joining us very soon. Hello to everyone. So please do keep your comments coming in. Tell us where you're coming in from, and we want to hear your questions. All right. So should we bring the main man in? Let's not wait any longer. Let's do it. So we have Mr. Chris Ingram waiting backstage to join us and come through to the studio. Before that, I just want to remind you, yes, he is a British driver, but he's the first British driver to win a European Championship in 52 years, which is just incredible. So he's a history maker as well. So he won that championship in 2019, and then of course the pandemic hit. What did he do then? And how long did that pandemic go on for? What did Chris do to prepare him for the next level? So his dream is of course to be world champion, but he had to have that break in the pandemic, out of the car. What did he do and how did he deal with that? Going from such a high, then having to press pause on his career, on his driving, before he can make that final leap and next leap, if you will, into the World Rally Championship. And boy, did he work hard to keep his mind focused on the big dream, on the big goal. So, shall we bring him in? Mr. Chris Ingram, welcome, and thank you for joining us on Rebel Without a Limit.
No problem.
Chris, when I was creating this podcast and I was collating my list of the names of which that I would love to have on and whose mindsets really I'd like to share and tap into, you were at the top of that list. I was lucky enough to connect with you during lockdown and to see your journey, to follow your journey now. It's just been incredible. So thank you for accepting my invitation. Thank you for coming on, and I'm really looking forward to sharing more of your story.
No problem. Yeah, I'm glad to be on, Hayley, and it's going to be, sounds really exciting what you're doing, and looking forward to sharing my journey with you.
So Chris, as we've mentioned, you were European champion in 2019, the first British driver to take that championship in 52 years since Vic Elford. 52 years, it's just incredible. History maker, and I'm sure there's much more of that to come. But I want to go back to the beginning, Chris. So we know your current achievements, and I really want to rewind really and find out how and why this all started, where it started for you really. So where was the drive for you to get into the car, get into racing, and to really throw yourself into competing as well?
So my dad took me to watch a rally in Yorkshire when I was about 8 years old, and I just fell in love with everything about it. Before it was just Man City, you know, football, yeah, just normal lad stuff. But as soon as I went to my first rally, I fell in love with the sport, and my dad got back into competing as well. So just going to watch my dad and filming him, my little video camera, it was just really special memories, and that ignited my passion for rallying.
And back then, who were you looking up to? Who was your inspiration?
Obviously, my dad has been my hero, but Sebastian Loeb was the number one back then. He was just dominating World Rally, and yeah, to think that I've already competed against him on a few World Rallies now is pretty insane. Living my dream.
Now let's go back as well now to the start of your career. So when you first started competing and when you first entered the world of racing.
So I did the junior championship, which was for 14 to 17-year-olds. And then when I was 19, I got my first, I'd say, professional drive when Peugeot picked me up and fully funded me for 2 years. So that was a massive break, and there's not many opportunities like them around these days. So yeah, Peugeot gave me my first big break, and then I moved to Opel, who were an amazing team in the European Championship. I won the junior European title with them, and then I moved to Talksport, who I'm still with to this day, who are a private German team running Skodas. They've got a massive team now, but yeah, I was the first European driver to ever compete with them. So yeah, since we joined forces, we've both, been on mega journeys and gone from strength to strength, now competing against the best teams and drivers in the world.
Phenomenal. And how about your dad then? How does he feel about that? He must be your number one fan.
Yeah, my he's the proudest dad ever, and I think you went to watch the Northwest stages with him and a load of our other friends, and you will have witnessed his passion then, I bet.
Yes, I absolutely did. So the family, they're always there supporting you, aren't they? They must have been supporting you from the beginning, I'm sure. So that is so important, isn't it, to be supporting you throughout your progression and have that solid support from the family.
Yeah, I go to the rallies mostly on my own these days, with my co-driver, just because it's so expensive to get to them all. But my dad gets to as many as he possibly can. He's sometimes I've got to keep him calm because he's even more passionate about the sport than me sometimes. But I guess a lot of drivers and riders have the same problems.
Your dad is here, and yeah, he's getting involved in the chat. Of course he is. Love that. Nice one, John. Thank you for joining us. And please, everyone, don't forget, keep commenting, keep sharing away. But Chris, this is obviously a mindset podcast, and I want to share more of where you're coming from and that angle. And specifically, I want to again go back to the time when you took that European Championship. So you there, and that season as well, that journey that you went on to just finish your season. I mean, you ran out of money, you had to go and crowdfund, and the challenges you came up against, which I'm sure many drivers do, but the way and the approach that you had is so impressive and so inspirational. So the relief of that when you finally took the championship must have just been incredible. You were making history. That intense end as well to that final round, and when you finally took the title. But then to head to the FAA Awards, of course, to go and pick your trophy up, and you're there with all the greats. Just what an incredible experience. That high just keep growing, 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 aiming then to move into the world stage, and then boom, in comes the pandemic. How did you deal with that pause in your career? You knew now you're going to have to accept that you're going to have time out of the car. From a mindset perspective, you know, you had 18 months then from then on where you weren't in the car. How did you deal with that?
Yeah, it was a massive challenge. One of the toughest times of my life, going from European champion, collecting my trophy with Lewis Hamilton. You know, I thought I'd made it and I would finally get some back in. And then obviously COVID happened just a couple of months later, and I lost all my funding. Didn't drive for 18 months, like you said. Really struggled with my mental health. I thought my career was over, and then, yeah, thanks to a load of people, I managed to get myself back into a really good place. I managed to raise the funding, and yeah, since then I've just gone from strength to strength, been on a massive comeback, and now I'm driving better than ever.
And at that turning point then, what mindset training routines did you have in place? Did you turn to even to help you through that time? Is there anything in particular that stands out that you're willing to share that really supported your drive to the next level, you really?
So, yeah, I've always trained, but not quite to the level I do now. I didn't really understand mental health until I got, into a low place myself. So I didn't really have anything in place to help me get out of it or to understand it. I had to go through it. So it was only from hitting, a very low place in my life that I actually learned a lot about myself and was able to develop a really strong mindset of resilience. So yeah, I guess the tough times in your life, they really do make you stronger, and they do teach you so much, especially about your mindset.
That is impressive. It's so powerful that the way that you describe that you've turned your vulnerabilities really and your struggles into your strengths, which, whether you watch rallying or not, we can, if we allow ourselves to relate to that really, can't we? It's your struggles into your strengths. And that's impressive. And it's so important for you as an athlete and a sportsman to get to that level of which that you deserve to be and you want to be. I just want to say a quick hello. Thank you, people logging on. Hello, hello, hello. Let us know where you're tuning in from. That is wonderful. Thank you for your comments and your support. Please do tag your friends and get them involved in the conversation. So to come back to that then, Chris, 18 months out of the car, European champion, and 18 months out of the car, you're ready now. You know that you're still aiming for that next level, that world stage. So how did you feel when you finally got to that time when you knew you were getting back in the car, you knew you were going to go back to competing and on the world stage finally, but you've just been really not driving fit or racing fit really for so long. So how did you feel? How was your mindset stepping back in the car, getting back into racing post-pandemic?
So yeah, it was just, absolute dream come true, like you said. But going into the first rally in the WRC, having not driven for that long, not practiced, it was just a massive. Yeah, it was too big, not too big a step, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't sharp. I wasn't fit in the car. I really struggled on that first rally. It was a big shock, but I very quickly managed to get back to grips with competing. And yeah, when I get to practice and I'm in the car often, I just feel like a machine with it. So just the fact that I don't get to practice is the hardest part at the moment. Because I know everything else is, I'm working on everything else flat out, and I don't think I could be doing much more.
Wow. Well, yeah, in reference to your mindset there, moving into the world stage, it's really appreciate your honesty and feeling that you're not ready. Once again, you threw yourself in to learn, didn't you? And your struggles became your strengths, which is, inspiring for anyone to hear. And also those young drivers out there listening to this conversation or even tuning in at a later time, I'm sure and I'm hope it will support them in that as well. So I just want to integrate a question, Chris, actually from a fan. So thank you, Callum, for sending that in. It's but linked. This isn't specifically his question is specifically linked to the media, but I would like to link that with it if I can. Now, from a mindset perspective, the media is so important for you as a driver and in your succession, in your support for your sponsors, for you. For your profile, I guess, if you will. And there's so many great photographers out there and you have great relationships and you've had some wonderful support, but there can be some mindset challenges in managing that, can't there? And scheduling and managing the energy that you give to it, etc. So how has your experience been in relation to that with that aspect?
Luckily, I've always had, 99.9% of people supporting me. So you always get the odd person who doesn't, but that's like, I'd say compared to most, I get a hell of a lot of support. So I'm so grateful for that, and yeah, I'm quite lucky that I haven't had much negativity to have to deal with. Yeah, so I'm probably not best placed to answer that.
Well, that's positive, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like you say, it's superbly supportive. Now, in relation to Callum's question, he does ask, do you have any tips for young drivers surrounded by negative comments?
Like I said, I'm not best placed to answer that because I don't feel I've had much negativity. But you've got to be so strong-minded in sport. You've got to not care what other people are thinking. You only listen to the people that really support you, really know you, really want you to do well. You've got to filter out everything negative somehow, and it's hard, but that's the only way. Like Ronaldo, for example, he must get so much hate from the other supporters for being so talented, but he just shuts it out and he doesn't let it affect him. He only listens to what he thinks about himself, really, I believe.
So in creating that solid circle and that bubble of protection, if you will, for your mindset, what about now, Chris? Who inspires you? Who's key to supporting you in preparing and maintaining that racing mindset?
There's only so much you can try to copy others, and I've had inspiration from lots of people in rallying, but also in other sports. But a lot of it, I believe, you've got to go through yourself, and you've got to develop your own mindset, and you've got to really learn about yourself, what makes you tick, and be disciplined. It's about being your best self, really, not trying to copy others.
So, Chris, we've heard some of your story, and you continue to inspire many of us through your approach, your dedication to your sport, to your craft, to your skills. And right now, you are preparing for your first challenge of 2023. Of course, it's the Monte Carlo Rally. How are you feeling going into that first event of the year?
Yeah, I'm feeling, I love this rally. I've been focusing on this rally for so many months, so I'm just feeling so ready. I just can't wait to get in the car and testing. That'll be the main bit of the prep for me because, I've done the rally before. I've been working so hard physically and mentally to be ready. Now I just need to get a bit of seat time, and work with the team again. Get back in the car with Craig, and then I'll be 100% ready to fight for the win.
So Craig joined you last year in the car, and what a setup you had, and it was quite the duo, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's gone really well, and I've shown the best speed I ever have with Craig in the car. So yeah, that shows it was a good move, and looking forward to see what we can achieve with a little bit more luck this year.
And talking in reference to incredible tracks around the world, you've obviously raced at so many already. But with regards to Monte Carlo, that's got to be up there, hasn't it, as one of your favourites?
I'd say it's probably my favourite, even though it's the most challenging rally with mixed conditions. There can be a big risk of ice, even if you're on slick tyres. So definitely one of the best events, and just incredible roads, and what a beautiful place it is as well over there.
And in terms of tracks, is there any particular track that you haven't raced at yet that you would really love to tick off?
I'd like to do Finland. It's the one everyone goes on about. I've never been. It's full of massive jumps, and I think it's the highest average speed of any rally. So I'd definitely like to try Finland, hopefully this season.
So sadly, last year your season did end earlier than you would wanted it to, with a bit of a big off that you had. So you weren't able to finish the season off. Now, if anyone out there has seen the footage, or you haven't, you can find plenty of it online, pictures and videos. It was huge, and it was just incredible, really, how you guys got out of that car, and it would blow anyone's mind watching it, to think, just to see how, really my interest is looking at that. How does that impact your mindset getting back in the car? So obviously that put the end to your season. That was the last time you were racing. So now gearing yourself up for Monte Carlo, how has that impacted your mindset getting back into the car and getting going again?
I thought that it would have knocked my confidence more than it has, because it was such a massive crash, and my first crash in so many years. But it's actually given me more confidence about the safety. We rolled like several times off a cliff, and we both walked out unharmed. So it just shows how strong the cars are. And before that, I was a bit scared of crashing, because I had a particularly bad one 7 years ago where I banged my head. So I was scared to do that again, but it wasn't that bad. So I'm not scared of it now, and it just can go. I was gonna say flat out, but it's about being clever as well.
Superb. Yes. Well, this time next week, you and Craig will be well and truly in the flow of the Monte Carlo Rally.
Yeah, bring it on. Can't wait to get over there. We're testing this weekend. And just so grateful for all the supporters who have chipped in to help us get there, and all of my partners who are back on board this year. It's going to be a massive season for me. It's a critical year. I wouldn't be doing it without everyone that supported me, and I'm giving it everything.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to you getting going with your 2023 season. I can't wait to see what you do in that WRC2 for your second season with them. But we've already touched on that your dream, the big dream, is obviously to be world champion. Realistically now, Chris, if you look at your training and your experience and how you've been attacking your training really and your career, where do you see on your timeline that realistically happening for you, potentially becoming world champion?
So the focus is to win WRC2 first, because WRC2 is so competitive now. I believe that whoever wins it this year we'll get a chance with a Rally 1 team. So I've got to focus step by step like I always have, and focus on WRC2, and then if we can win that, I'm sure we'll get a chance.
Love it. Well, there'll be plenty of us cheering you on from the sidelines, Chris. I'm really looking forward to that. So now I just want to move on to sharing information with how you guys out there can get involved in Chris's journey this year. He set a fantastic opportunity up for you. So Chris, I'll fire it over to you to explain exactly how it works and how the guys out there can get involved in your 2023 season.
Yeah, so because it's been such a challenging time raising funding, I felt I'd tried everything to raise the funding for this year. I really have. Been working on it since before last summer, and been extremely difficult to raise more funding and get new partners on board. When I won the European Championship, I did it thanks to 500 people who chipped into a crowdfunding page that my mum actually set up. At the time, I was too proud to do it, but yeah, it really is a last resort to try and raise some support for this critical season, and anyone who wants to be on the journey with me. And we're also having a raffle for prizes, and you can win a ride with me in the rally car. You can win tickets to WRC. But for anyone who can chip into the crowdfunding, the minimum donation is £5. So if all of my friends and followers chipped in £5, that'd fund a whole season or two. But yeah, anyone who can chip in even £5, you'll get your name on the car. You'll be part of the team and support me in WRC. And if you can't chip in, then please support us on social media, because it all helps. And yeah, I'm just so grateful to everyone who's already supported us, and yeah, I'm giving it absolutely everything.
Fantastic. Well, I can't wait to see you contest the WRC2 once again, Chris. Thank you everyone for your comments, for your hellos. You will agree that this guy is a phenomenal talent, phenomenal driver and mindset to share. So really looking forward to sharing more of his journey and following it along the way. Please do support these guys on socials, even if you don't get involved in the campaign. You can get involved in supporting them on social media. Follow Chris on Chris Ingram Rally. And you can follow his story throughout the season and get involved.
Yeah, exactly. Chris Ingram Rally. And yeah, follow us on the Monte Carlo Rally next week, where I'll be battling for WRC2 against some of the best drivers in the world.
So, Chris, I believe we do have a mutual friend, Mr. Rick Moylan, and talking about mindset and having that circle of mindsets really that do support you in being the best that you can be in that environment as an athlete and competing. And I know, Chris, Rick has been a hugely positive impact on you and supporting you and getting you prepared now for racing. So tell us a bit more about that connection and how he has supported you, because we will be having him on this podcast. I'm really looking forward to sharing more of his story as well. But yeah, tell us a little bit more how he's supported you.
Yeah, Rick's been supporting me for the last few years since the time I wasn't competing. Rick really picked me up from the floor, and he's been helping me ever since. And yeah, I'm proud to have him on board with me on my journey. Before Rick, I never really had anyone helping me, with the fitness side, or the mental side really. It was all about rallying and not being an athlete. So I'd say in simple terms, Rick helped me become an athlete. It just shows in my performances last year. I literally have gone to another level. Winning the European title was a big thing for me, but the World Championship is a complete another level. And last year I just made so much progress because of the principles I've been working with Rick, and Scott Quigg has also helped me. It just really has helped me get to the next level, and especially when I was in a bad place a few years ago, I was a shell of who I am now, and now I'm sat here, I'm just ready to go and absolutely fly in Monte Carlo, and I'm feeling so confident for it. And I would have had no idea how to be in this place back where I was a few years ago during COVID.
Well, it was through Rick that we were obviously introduced online back in lockdown, Chris. So to be watching you, supporting you from then, seeing how well and great you are doing, and you really are following and smashing it, following your dreams and smashing it. And I can't wait to see what this year holds for you and beyond.
Thanks, Hayley.
So yes, Rick will be in episode 2, and it's a really important and proud conversation. So I can't wait to share it with you. Make sure you subscribe so the notifications will be sent your way, and you will not miss out on any piece of content that I'm going to be sharing. There's a fair amount of episodes coming your way throughout January. So hit that subscribe button and you will be sent the notifications and you won't miss out on a thing. So Chris, before we do sign off this chat and close down this conversation, do you have anything else that you'd like to share with your viewers and your followers?
I just want to say thanks to you, Hayley. Thanks to everyone who's supported me for Monte Carlo and who's ever supported me. Hope to do you proud. I'm giving it absolutely everything. Ready to go, so bring it on.
Yes, Chris.
Big thanks to everyone who tuned in and commented. Stuart, Andrew, Chris, Jake, and my dad.
Oh, your dad. So passionate about supporting you. You must be living his passions for the sport through you as well. I must be so proud.
Thanks, Hayley.
So thank you. That was episode 1 of Rebel Without a Limit, the Mindset Podcast, sharing stories and techniques to support you in living with a limitless mind. Wow, we finally got it off the ground, and I think we ran with it tonight. So thank you for joining us. Please do share with your friends if you know anyone this may help, or even they might just enjoy. Please do tag them in, share away, and make sure you hit that subscribe button. We want to hear from you as well. Please do give your feedback, get involved in the chat and the conversation. And I look forward to having Chris back on again and following him through his career this year. Please do support him. Thank you for joining me. I'm Hayley Coxon, and this was Rebel Without a Limit. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the bell for notifications, and share with anyone you think that might enjoy it too.